YOLO conquistadors and conquistadorettes. This is the glorified version of a Bassin talk show. I'm your host, Pat Renwick, and it's another Wednesday night. Yes, and welcome Bass Galaxy. Hello. Good evening, glory, hallelujah to you. Heck yeah. We just flew in from the Bassmaster Classic, and boy, are our arms tired. You know what I mean? Dad jokes, right off the bat. Boom! Right off the bat. Hey, for real, though, very, very excited to bring back to you, Bass Galaxy. Let's face it, this guy right now is the Ryan Seacrest of Bass, and tonight we have Dave Mercer coming on the show. Facts of Fishing. Dave Mercer, you heard of the guy. You know who he is. Does all kinds of stuff. Mercer's coming back on the show, and we always have a good time. I think, correct me if, Bass Galaxy, give it up for the one and only Bassin talk show producer, Andrew Ellenberger. He's a ginger ninja.
He's a ginger ninja.
You are, Ginge. You are red on the head like the producer should be.
Yeah, easy.
You know what I mean now? You know what I'm saying? But where were we, Ginge? What were we talking about?
You were...
Yeah, I was just bringing up stuff. Bringing up stuff. But, Ginge, we've been off for a couple weeks. It's nice to be back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, we had the best of with Jason Christie last week. And, by the way, congratulations to Bassmaster Classic Champion 2022, Jason Christie, your unfinished business. It's finished for now. It's finished for now, right, Ginge?
AOI left.
He's got stuff to do.
There's a couple other things.
He's got stuff to do. So, you know, it's never finished with Christie. We know that. And working on getting Jason up, coming up here in the next couple weeks. You know, the guys are out there touring. And best of luck to the Elite Series crew out there. Give it up tomorrow. Starting it off at Santee, Marion and Moultrie. A lot of history there, Andrew. And best of luck to all the competitors, especially our horses in the race. You know what I'm saying. Hey, want to remind everybody, boom, off the bat, Crestliner XF 179. You may have seen Stray Cast running around in the 189, but have you heard about the 179? Perfect bassin boat, multi-species boat, whatever you want to do with it, shallow water drafter. It's a sled. Check it out right now, CrestlinerBoats.com. Ginge, let's do a CalSag call-out.
Okay.
It's a new thing that we have here, and you viewers that have been around, viewers and listeners for a while, yeah, you know about the CalSagBass.com. It's the biggest payout derb in the Chicagoland area. That's like big bucks to compete on the CalSag and Lake Calumet. That is the, also Lake Michigan. And you know CalSag, that's in Lake Michigan. That's the home of the 2000 Bassmaster Classic, won by Woo Daves. So here is the CalSag call-out. If you live within 100 miles of the Chicagoland area, and you're a derber, and you're not fishing the CalSag Bass Anglers, CalSagBass.com, for giant payouts, then you're messing up, and we're calling you out. The first angler that we're calling out this week to compete and beat Ryan Whitaker, Bass Cat Dave, Brian Jackson, you know what I mean, all those, the Hose, all those guys, to beat them. The first guy we're calling out, Cody Bertrand. Cody Bertrand, you're a local guy, and we're calling you out. You're an amazing angler. You're fishing the opens, trying to achieve your dream, but we're calling you out to come take the money of the guys at the CalSag, plain and simple. There it is, the CalSag call-out. It's a brand new segment, Ginge. See that? How we did that. Sign up today, CalSagBass.com. Also want to say a special thank you to Victor over at Half a Spot and the whole crew at Half a Spot coming back aboard with the Stray Cast Crazy Train. We appreciate you, Victor. And I'm going to Mexico, guys. I'm excited. I'm going bassing in Mexico. Ginge, you're coming too. You got a passport, Ginge? Remind me to get a passport tomorrow, okay? I was supposed to do that Monday. Yeah, I was supposed to do it Monday. Remind me to get a passport. If you have not signed up for the Half a Spot official app, there's some amazing things that are going to happen Yeah, we can't wait to tell you about it. halfaspotofficial.com. Check out the Half a Spot app. Also, thank you to Bill over at Impulse Lithium. You guys remember Bill, Elite Series champ on St. Clair? Yeah, Bill Weidler. Yeah, you know Bill. Yeah, thanks, Bill, for bringing us aboard the Impulse Lithium team. It's good to see you and the missus and the son at the BMC. And, James, we're looking forward to that, huh? We like the lightness. It's a new world for us guys, for us regular bass guys. Another shout out to Patterson at Sims. Had a great time with you at the Ginge. This is like a YouTube thing now. I'm like shouting everybody out. What am I doing? Had a great time with Patterson at the from Sims at the BMC. Oh, here's what you want to hear, Bass Galaxy. Let me get to this. I am reminding you at this present moment to like and share this live Facebook feed. You know what that gets you? Not one, but two things. First off, you get a chance to win a Stray Cast Max Scent Maximum Pack. That's right. Give it up for the Stray Cast Maximum Pack. Yes, I just smacked the mic. And also, the second chance, like and share it as many times as you want. We don't care. You got two chances to win. The second chance is the Dave Mercer Maximum Max Scent Pack. So you get a Stray Cast Max Scent Pack and a Dave Mercer Max Scent Pack. Compliments of Berkeley Fishing. It's freaking nuts. It's nuts, and all you got to do is like and share this live Facebook feed, and that is to commemorate Wednesday night Super Talk Show night, or Super Podcast night, because Dave's show is on. You can even, if you want, turn this off and just go watch Dave's show. He has I can't wait to watch. He's got KJ Queen and the Mystery Machine on, so we can watch that. All right, Jay, I know I'm rambling. I'm excited to be back, bud. I know, I got the look. You looked over the computer at me. All right, like and share the live Facebook feed. Two chances to win Berkeley stuff. You want a whiskey chipsy it up, bud? I mean, are you ready, Bass Galaxy, for the return of the Tin Cup Word of the Week with the whiskey gypsy? And Courtney, can I call her Courtney Blue? Can that be her name? Courtney Blue. Uh-oh. When you hear that. Ah, yeah. Take your whiskey home. Wow.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hi.
Hey, Court. What's going on? Look at you, foals.
We're out to dinner.
You look happier than a pig in whiskey. Both of you. Where are you right now?
We're in downtown Indy, right across the street from Gamebridge Fieldhouse, where they're going to be having all the basketball games.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we're doing.
I just saw.
We're doing an Irish whiskey dinner because tomorrow's St. Patty's Day.
Yes, a lunch, as they would say. Happy St. Patty's.
Yeah. That's what they say.
Happy St. Patty's. No, it's good to see. I saw Billy McDonald run across the street too. Billy Mack. I saw him.
Yeah.
He ran. I saw the Lucas Oil truck. That was Billy Mack.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
It had to be. So Foles and Courtney had a great time with you guys at the Classic. It was cool to hang out. The Tin Cup whiskey booth was OTH, off the hook.
It was so amazing. I couldn't believe it. I had never seen it before. I was really very impressed.
Yeah.
We were very busy.
Yeah, you're an official Bass and Gal now, Court. You know that. You sure are.
I got recognized like 8 times.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, you're a big deal. You're a bigger deal than Foles now. And it was nice to meet.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
The Bass Galaxy likes her better than me.
The verdict is in. And good to see Jesse too over there. Jesse from Tin Cup Corporate. It was cool to meet her. And had a dang good time, Foles. So with all that being said, I turn it back to you as we do every Wednesday night in 2022 on the glorified version of a Bass and Talk Show, Stray Cast. What is the Tin Cup Whiskey Word of the Week?
It's gonna be Dave.
What?
Mr. Dave Mercer.
It's gonna be Dave. So wait a second. First, before I say that, everyone, if you're going to take a sip, sip responsibly. And if you hear the word,
Absolutely.
yes, in the Tin Cup Whiskey word of the week is Dave. So if you hear Dave take a sip, it can be coffee, it can be Coca-Cola, it can be Tin Cup Whiskey. You just do it and drink responsibly. And that's it. Foles, are you happy, guy?
I am. We got a lot of stuff going on in Indy right now. I got to do some St. Patty's Day stuff tomorrow. Then I'm going to put about 3 or 4 hours behind me, going to Santee Cooper for the next 3 days to cheer on Matt Robertson and Seth Biter.
Oh, yeah. You got horses in the race.
We're going to be doing an activation, a 10 Cup activation at Santee Cooper. So if anybody's out there that's close, please come by and see me. But yeah, I got a lot going on, but it's a lot of fun and everything is good. So
awesome. And then get this, Foles, just before we put the power poles down and get to Dave Mercer, I want Courtney to know, as well as the rest of the Bass Galaxy. Unfortunately, Luke, you are not eligible, but all you got to do is like and share this live Facebook feed. Your chance to win a Berkeley Maxent Stray Cast pack and a Berkeley Maxent Facts of Fishing Dave Mercer pack to commemorate the Double Wednesday podcast extravaganza tonight with Dave on 2 podcasts in one night. It's amazing. It's Night of the Living Dave. It's Night of the Living Dave. How do you like it? All right, amazing. Yeah. I'm so glad you guys could join us again, and we'll see you next week, right?
Absolutely. We'll be there.
We'll see you next week. We got a wing dinger. You'll see next week. Hey, put the power put the power poles down. We power pole down for pleasure around here. See ya, Court. See ya, Whiskey Gypsy. We're coming back with the Ryan Seacrest to Bassin, Mr. David Mercer.
Oh.
Yeah, don't you go anywhere. Peace.
See you guys.
Nobody wants to run out of power when they're on the water. There is a better way. Introducing the Charge Marine Power Management Station from PowerPole that does the work of 3 devices: a traditional battery charger, a charge on the run, and an emergency start system. PowerPole Charge.
This is the mountain, and this is mountain whiskey. Unspoiled, untamed, forever wild. There's no safety net, no way down. Up here, it's just man, and the mountain, and his tin cup. Tin Cup Whiskey. Mountain whiskey.
TH Marine Hydrowave H2 KVD Edition is a surefire way to ignite a feeding frenzy. The Hydrowave utilizes a sound-emitting technology that imitates bait fish and other feeding fish below the surface that preys on the competitive nature of bass and other game fish to get you more bites. The Hydrowave is another way that TH Marine has you covered from transom to trolling motor.
America has spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you the Ryan Seacrest of bass fishing, the one and only Diamond Dave Mercer returns to the Straight Cast Show right now. Bass Galaxy, give it up. That's the guy. That's the guy.
I don't know how I feel about this whole Ryan Seacrest thing. I'd like to make as much as he does, but
well, Dave, you are on your way to it. Let me say,
oh yes,
well, Mr. Mercer, you are very rich in spirit. May I say? May I say that about you? We know that for sure. But go ahead and argue with me, man. Like, you have your hands in everything, just like old Seacrest, bud. Like, okay, so you have, of course, Facts of Fishing, right? You got FYI. You got Bass MC Dave Mercer. It's you have the Mercer podcast, and now you have the Cull. That's a lot. You have just regular bassing. Plus, you're a family man. You're a dad and a hubby, and a bud to many. Like, here's my first question of the night. First off, it's a two-parter. Two-parter, Dave.
Wow. Starting with two-parter.
Oh, I'm hammering
That's
you
impressive.
tonight. We're gonna get for lack of a better term, deep inside Dave Mercer tonight. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. All right.
Please do.
Yes. Hey now, but but Dave, my first question to you is: how could you argue with me that you're the Ryan Seacrest of bass? And second off, how do you do it? How do you do all this? That's insane.
Well, I don't know why I argue the Ryan Seacrest thing, because he's different than me.
He's different yet similar. One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
But he's very similar.
I guess I just argue it because you're supposed to. Like, if somebody says something like that, you'd be a real arrogant dick if you're just like, yeah, well,
I know.
I have always considered myself
right on, bud. Seacrest rules. How? You know. No, but I get it. But you are. I need you to accept it, okay? Because that is a very, coming from me at least, who admires entertainers in any industry. Broadcasters, entertainers in any industry, very coming from me at least. I got a double admires entertainers. Okay, are we back to normal? Okay, so yeah, Dave. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, like, that's a big role that you play, being a Ryan Seacrest type. For all kidding aside, bud.
I'm just searching for my Kelly Ripa. No, but I will say this, dude. Like, none of the stuff that I do. We live one life, and you literally, like, all of the stuff, like the lunacy to start a show with Panger just 2 weeks ago called The Call.
Cousin Matt, we refer to him as here. Yes, Cousin Matthew. Yes.
Well, Cousin Matthew and me, like, literally, we talked about it for a while, and we're just like, let's just do it. And honestly, you just want to take every opportunity you can. You know what I mean? And I love the creative element of that. Like, I love to get involved with things that are different. And I don't know. Here's the truth. I figured that sooner or later somebody's going to realize that I'm not qualified for any of this crap. So I just figure if I stay super busy, they'll be like, well, he does a lot of crap.
Dude, that's what I'm with you right there. We thank everyone every week on this show because we know we're on this thin raft. Like, Fighter said it great at the AOY speech. Remember, after he lit up the smoke, he said, this isn't even a real job. You know, this is like, so, so you got to be grateful, Dave Mercer. And I know you are. I know you are, bud.
Every single day, I'm grateful. It's stupid that I get to make a living doing everything I did when I was a kid. Like, literally all of the dumb stuff that I do. The boom shakalaka was the same crap I did when I was a little kid. It came from NBA Jam. And, it would be boom shakalaka, giant jam. I was a fishing idiot.
Well, you used to talk about big gals and say giant instead of bass. It's rhymed with bass.
Oh, I got you there.
Hey now, we do dad jokes and stuff on this show.
Any kind of jokes. I am not. You can do whatever you wish.
I won't go there. But here's my question again: how do you do it? Like, how do you balance family? Being a dad, being a husband, being a friend to your Canadian friends, and no, the people at home. You know what I mean when you're back home, Dave. And also doing your career. That's a lot to balance with all these hats. That's a lot of hats, Dave.
Yeah, it's a lot of hats. I think number one, I'm probably not a very good friend. So those, they get screwed. I miss a lot.
What, do you not return the lawnmower? Do you not return the lawnmower? Are you that guy or the hedge trimmer?
No, I'm never borrowing a lawnmower. I can guarantee you that much. I'm the exact opposite of that guy. But I'm just not around for a lot because I travel a lot and I miss a lot of things. But I love every job that I have. Like, there's nothing I'd want to stop doing. And I have an incredibly understanding family that supports me. And I don't know. Like, there's no other option. That's how this industry is. When you ask me how I do what I do, well, how the hell does Zona do what he does? You know what I mean? Like, he does 10 times the amount of stuff that I do.
Well, hold on, Dave. I observe a lot in this industry. It's my job. It's my job to do that, quite frankly. And I see who's busy. I see who hustles. Like, you're right. Mark Zona's a hustler. Mike Iaconelli is a hustler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Matty Robertson's a hustler. You know what I mean?
Different kind of hustler.
Well, hey now. Don't Google Matt Robertson hustler. But Mercer, you're a hustler too. I see that there's a lot of slices in your pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, But again, I'm thankful to do every single one of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I literally, have multiple dream jobs. I wanted to fish for a living. I get to do that, and you know what I mean. And then I get to do the bass thing, and so none of it feels like work, honestly. And trust me, I bitch just like everybody else. Like, oh, I got to do this, but me and Panger are going to talk to each other and argue about some bull crap anyways. So all that we've done is started recording some of it. You know what I mean? And that's honestly the way I feel about the podcast we do. We don't produce that show. We don't do anything. It is literally a one-on-one conversation with me and whoever.
I like it. I say
very
this
casual.
Yeah, I like it. And I say this respectfully. It's reminiscent of the old loudmouth bass with Zona and Kumar. I like some of that type of banter right there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool that you and because I know cousin Matt likes diving into the dirt of bassing. You know what I mean? As far as Durbin in Derbs itself, and I like that you guys are touching on that.
And I don't even think we're diving into the dirt, because I'll be honest, that's one thing that I hate about online media, because that's the easy to dive into the dirt. And I think we will, there's some situations where you're talking about some stuff that other people don't talk about, but we're also talking about the stuff that everybody talks about. You know what I mean? Those are the conversations that happen at tournament takeoffs and everything,
But Dave, it is dirt. That is dirt. Like kids on the stage. Okay, bringing it up. You're digging up some dirt, bud.
That's not dirt.
Well, no, it's not it's not. But it's like, okay, so let's talk about maybe what's another word for it? Taboo. I don't know. Like what's not taboo bassin'? I don't.
I love that
movie. Dave Mercer in Taboo Bassin'. But for real, it's like nobody is talking about that aspect of it, really. Like, okay, sure. It's quite often talked about, as you said, payouts for big bass. What is it? 10K payout for the big bass. Kids on stage. What was the one you just did this week? Refresh my memory.
Bass track locations. Are they too?
Yes.
Are they too dead on?
Yeah. I mean, these are conversations. So it's basically conversations of bringing up often talked about, but untalked about.
And I get, but that's also our industry. That's one of the weird things about the fishing industry, is where we don't talk about things like that. The athletes that compete, if you compare them to anything else, motocross, golf, I don't care what, hockey, football, baseball, it doesn't matter, bowling, our athletes are very coddled. You know what I mean? Like you don't deal with that controversy. It kind of gets swept away. But I don't think that what we're doing is bringing up dirt. I think we're having discussion. I think discussion is always good, because then you see the kid thing. To be honest, I kind of was pro kids, but a little bit against it, because you don't. And then I heard so many people bring up different points. And to me, my opinion changed just from the viewer feedback. And again, nobody's right or wrong. It's just freaking opinions. Like, you know what? I got a buddy who doesn't like cheese on a hamburger, but I got another buddy who does like cheese, and they're just opinions. I don't hate somebody because
I get it. And you know what this is basically the weigh-in opinion show. And that's stuff people talk about at weigh-ins.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And it might be like, you believe he's got them kids up there again. Unreal. Gosh dang it. I mean, that's what this is. I do too. For crying out loud, I had a beautiful one. But
I am one.
Yeah, me too. I abuse my inner child constantly. That's me. That's myself. Yes.
When I think of you abusing your inner child, it brings way too many.
I'm in therapy for it. Yes, it's called the Eddie Vedder therapy.
Gosh.
It's not going anywhere. Yeah, but I mean, and the other stuff. Yeah, $10,000. Not my big bass. I don't know about that. It's all worth that. That's weigh-in talk. That's what you guys got going on, Dave. I like it.
Yes, yeah.
I like it. I like the weigh-in talk. I want to move it along and kind of.
Okay.
I kind of want to finish the ass kissing portion of this segment and.
Okay, let's do that. My favorite part.
Because I got to tell you, and I've said it whenever Dave Mercer's name comes up on the Stray Cast show. Whenever your name comes up amongst friends. The thing that I always say is like, that freaking cat amazes me. And here's why you amaze me. Not that you do all this stuff. It's not that you got all these hats, Dave. It's the fact that the amount of knowledge that you retain. My grandma would refer to you as sharp as a tack. That's what she would say about Dave Mercer. That Dave Mercer, he's sharp as a tack. That's what she'd say. Because on stage, which is a hard thing to do, not a lot of people realize it, Dave. You got to be on, bud, because if you ain't on, the shit sucks. It does. All right? The weigh-in has to be moved. It has to be moved along. You have an uncanny ability to know facts and to be sharp as a tack. In Bass Galaxy, give it up to Dave Mercer for that. We commend you. For real, bud. That's a real thing. You're an important part of the galaxy.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm not very good with compliments and relative work. I mean, it's not a hard job. You know, like everybody, look how hard he's, and trust me, I put every ounce of energy I have into that job, and I try to make every weigh-in show better and better as my career moves on. But relative terms, it's not hard work. I mean, there's a dude digging a ditch somewhere.
Dave,
that's hard work.
I
and
understand
that's
that.
what motivates me.
But here's what I'm getting. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you don't want to be slinging a hammer or a shovel or whatever. I get it. But, you know, and I get the thing about compliments. Seriously right now, my therapist is Eddie Vedder. And like, I'm in the Eddie Vedder School of Therapy right now. And I have a horrible time accepting compliments. It's just a hard thing to do. But I want to know, how do you know all that? Okay, KJ Queen, who you had on the podcast today, walks up to the stage. You know everything about KJ Queen. Okay, Wes Logan walks up to the stage. You know everything about Wes Logan. Seth Fighter walks up to the stage. You know everything about Seth Fighter. Gerald Swindle, blah blah wins. X amount of do dabba boo boo boo. Dude wipes da. And then you're in, bud. Like, how do you know it? I've been there. You don't have cue cards. That's the fascinating thing.
It's just something I love. Like, honestly, how do you know every bait color without looking at a chart? How do you know everywhere where you've caught a fish? You know, I love it that much, and I'm obsessed by it. And it just comes. But here's the weird thing, like, and this is not made up. Like, I literally have to check my phone to make sure I have my wife's birthday right.
I get it. I get that. Yes.
So I feel like your brain only can accept so much, and mine's full of, you know, how many times somebody qualified for a classic and all that bull crap. But I'm just thankful but I mean, it takes work at certain times. I mean, in the last few years, a lot more work, obviously, because you had to learn about people. But again, that's part of the coolest thing about some of the other projects I'm working on. You know what I mean? Like with the podcast that we do every week, it allows me to like really sit and talk to KJ Queen and learn different things about him. You know what I mean? It just
I relate.
forces
Yes.
us into that.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know why. Like, there's not a secret why I remember it. Like, I just do. I mean, I study some though. Like for me, I have to write it all down. Like, I can't just. You can tell it to me, but if I don't take the time to write it down, whether it be in my phone or whether it be physically written with my hand, that helps me remember. But I mean, it's just. I just move the hole that makes the words, and I'm lucky to do it. So
no, I've heard you say that before, and I'm relating with you, Dave. I have crazy thoughts all week prior to the Straycast show, and then then I finally write them down on paper, and that's how I project. You know, otherwise I'm a hot mess everywhere. But that's I gotta say, man, like how many anglers are there on the Elite Series? How many anglers?
96 this year,
96 this year.
96, yeah.
So what I'm getting at is, like, I have the luxury of having some papers right here. Okay? There's 96 dudes that you have to remember stuff about. So what is what was the process, Dave? So let's say wintertime in Canada. Did you go and start looking at Ron? Did you probe Ronnie Moore? Oh, congratulations to Ronnie and Sarah Moore, by the way, while we're at
Brand
it.
new baby.
Yeah,
Brand
give
new
it up
baby.
to them. Brand new.
Yeah.
Ronette is her name, actually.
Yeah, they're very happy. They're all is good. Baby's doing good. Sarah, his wife's doing good. So congratulations to Ronnie. But no, I mean, initially, a lot of the stuff I knew just because I was a fan of the sport when I first got involved in bass. But then when we had kind of the switch over a few years ago, there was some research that you had to do. But it's literally just like anything else. You know, I spend time learning about people. And I'm naturally an inquisitive person, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I find it cool to see, you know, what somebody like KJ Queen is thinking. You know what I mean? Like I'm naturally want to learn about people, so I think that helps. But
Yeah, it's
just, it's part of the process, I guess. There's no real and there's no, honestly, because I couldn't remember squat for tests when I was growing up, in school and stuff like that. And it's frustrating to know that some of the stuff that I do know, but it just goes to show you, if you love something enough and you're obsessed with it, if you stop doing this show, you'd still follow the sport and still know who won Angler of the Year and all that. It's
damn
not part of the job.
Yeah.
Part of the session.
Yeah, it's in the heart. It's in the heart, and I get it, but I still find it fascinating the amount of stats that you know. I think you spend time studying stats, and I think that's cool. I do. I do, but that's what I'm saying. But there's no real there's no fast and easy. Like, how do you do that? I wish I knew how to teach it. It's just something that I think I have the easiest job in the world. I introduce 100 different guys each year. Hank Weldon, who's doing the opens right now. Now that's a tough job. He's got to introduce freaking 600 anglers. Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah. Hank, ain't gonna. Yeah. He definitely needs a nice hot jacuzzi after that. After those weigh-ins.
Sure. Yeah.
Who
doesn't?
A relaxor. Hey, we know a lot about you and what you do as far as your Ryan Seacrest rules, but I wanna get into Dave Mercer, the Bassin Man, a little bit.
Okay.
I want to learn about. I know that's why we're all here is because of these fish, And I'll be honest with you, I'm a Facts of Fishing television show fan from way back, but and gosh, sitting at the office, I remember the old short Facts of Fishings and on the Bass Fans. That's something I'd look forward to sneaking on the computer when you weren't allowed to be on the computer and watching it. But we know about that, and we've talked about that when you've been on the show before, but we haven't really talked about you as a bass fisherman, as a bassin man. All right, and this is how I want to figure it out. We play a game on this show.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And it's
always with the games and the music.
Yeah. And this is a great opportunity for you to plug Berkeley and Abu Garcia. #shameless sponsor plug right now. And this is a little game that we play here on Straycast, Dave, and it's called 3 on Deck. 1 in hand. 3 on deck, 1 in hand. And what that is, Dave, there's a new rule in the Bass Galaxy. And all you can do is have 4 rods with you at all times.
Okay.
All right. 4 rod and 4 reel combos. So I need to know what those are, and the line and the baits. 4 rod and reel combos, 4 line sizes, 4 baits, rest of your life. Go, Dave Mercer. 3 on deck, 1 in hand.
That's a stupid game.
No, it's not. It tells us. It tells us your psyche. You'll see.
Rods, I wouldn't have got into this.
No. Hold on. You at this level, Dave. We're testing you. This is a test right now. I'm gonna just be honest with you. This is a complete 100% test.
What are you testing me on?
On what type of bassin man you are. I'm gonna see what you're on. I'm gonna see what gets you off as a bass man. All right. I'm going to see what happens here. I'm going to see what Dave's on and what you're chunking and winding, and that's going to tell us what kind of bass man you are. So, 4 on deck. All right. Don't be difficult. Yikes. Stars.
No.
Change these stars that we book. I swear to God. Seacrest. 4 on deck, 1 in hand.
You want me to talk now?
Yes, please, Dave.
I'm going to say I'm definitely going to have a jerk bait rod, which is going to be, 6'6", medium light. And I'll put a stunner on it.
Stunner?
You might as well. I'm going to have a drop shot rod.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a flatworm just to piss people off because I still have some.
You got a bunch of them.
People get so mad.
A whole Canadian garage full. It's even bigger than an American garage.
Oh, the exchange rate is incredible.
Freaking huge.
Hey,
I need you to be a little specific because I'm really curious about this, though. Like, okay, so you're throwing the stunner on a 6'6", would you say medium or medium light? Like, what's
medium light?
What
I like
series?
a lighter.
What
I like a
series you
lighter,
into?
and I throw it on a spinning rod. I don't throw it on a bait casting rod. I always throw it on a spinning rod. And the key with throwing a jerk bait on a spinning rod is you want zip to it. So you want to loosen off your drag enough so that when every time you rip that jerk bait, you should feel a little, and that's when you know your jerk bait is set up perfectly. And I really think, honestly, every year when you watch a lot of guys come up north and fish a jerk bait, they always throw it on a bait casting reel. A smallmouth is a whole different creature. Their mouth is so much harder, and there is so much more pressure in that you need that zip factor.
Okay.
It amazes me that you don't see a lot of Southern people throw a jerk bait on a spinning rod. But I'm telling you, and put on 15-pound braids to a 10-pound fluoro leader, 100% fluorocarbon leader, and you're set. I mean, honestly, and you can cast it a lot further, and that zip is the key, because then when you get a big smallmouth, they get a chance to load up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, and I like that you said about the Southern man doesn't use the spin pole for the jerk bait, and I'm thinking in my mind when you said that, who does it? And the only guy, get this, Mercer, the only guy I could think of in history from south of the Mason-Dixon line using a spin pole for a jerkbait, the late, great Tom Mann. Remember? Tom Mann,
yeah.
He used a spin pole for everything, Dave. Like everything, bud. Spinner baits.
They work good.
Yeah.
They work good. I don't know why people are so scared of them.
I'm scared to death of the dang things, I'll be honest.
Why?
I just am, and then that xenon is so light, it scares me. It's like...
they gave me the first Xenon, and guess what I did to it? I haven't even told them. So what better way to tell them than on your podcast? So this was like before they were even released.
Yeah.
And it's on our show, and it's not even a complete reel. Like, it literally is just a visual sample that kind of worked. So, but it's still beautiful. It was still beautiful.
It was just the shell.
Yeah. And then we went to shoot a show, and somehow it ended in the water. And yeah, so I need another one of those.
Brad
Please.
Rutherford, if you hear that, send Dave right now. Brad's a great boss.
Please, yeah, because I've been trying to catch it and I can't find it.
Okay, but spin.
So yeah, I lost the very first one. But then we're gonna go drop shot 7.2,
another
medium
spin
light
pole.
again.
Another spin pole.
Lighter action.
Yeah.
Lighter action, and then see, I hate this 4-rod, because then I'm like, well, what if I'm going largemouth?
I know. That's why I'm making you use your noodle, Mercer.
Well, I'm gonna have to have a jerk shad. I'm gonna go with jerk shad.
Interesting. Because of your fondness for Peter Talveros.
Well, it's a great smallmouth and largemouth bait. Depends, no matter where you're fishing. I mean, you can catch. It's a great approach. But then I'm gonna want a general, and then I'm gonna want a jig, and then I'm gonna want a frog.
Yeah.
And that's where it all goes awry.
It just went completely bonsai. You're like a BB in a boxcar right now. How in the hell can I use 4 rods? Ridiculous question.
I mean, I can use 4 if you're like 4 rods for smallmouth fishing, 4 rods for largemouth fishing, but 4 rods forever is really just, that's not enough rods.
I know. That's the challenge. That's the YouTube Snoochie Boochie Snoogan challenge.
I didn't even have a freaking crankbait in there. What
I
the
know,
hell?
bud. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to live in that world, Pat. I don't want to live in that
That's
world.
my world.
Okay?
I'm an FBR. You know what an FBR is?
No.
A freaking bank runner. I'm so stuck on the bank. I really am. You have
They
more.
say that people are going to go back to the bank, though. The
Yep.
fish are going to go back to the bank once they get tired of everybody chasing them with live sonar.
Fighter used it last year. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
What's happening with that is one of the craziest things in bass fishing right now, to be honest. Not to hijack your show.
No,
here,
I
but,
wanted hijacked.
They're chasing those fish, dude, everywhere we go. And it's not being talked about. And you hear guys like Takumi and stuff on stage say that they're running from me. They're running from me. And it sounds like he's not staying on the fish. But if you really listen to what he's saying, you really talk to what he's saying, they are chasing. It is literally
just a chase. You know, they find a fish and they follow it until they figure out a way to make it bite. And it has totally changed the way they fish everywhere. Like it's not just a deep water thing. It's not just a shallow water thing. It's an everywhere. I mean, Scott Martin was using it at the first tournament of the year in the St. Johns River, you know, or no, on Harrison, he was using it while, you know, pitching reeds. It's amazing what people are doing with that technology, but it is totally changing the sport. And I don't think as many people realize just how much fish chasing is going on. Because that's what they're doing. They literally don't stay in structure. They get on a fish and chase after it.
I've seen it, Dave. I've seen it firsthand. I know. It's amazing. It's amazing. And yeah. I think, well, it was told to me by, you know, Nolan Miner. He's a good kid. He's with Berkeley Abu. He's fished the Opens, kayak guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, he told me, Pat, when you get that deal, I don't have it yet, Dave. I'm going to have it this year. But he said, when you get that deal, it's the closest thing to bank fishing off the bank that you'll find, because it's very, it's very visual. So, I mean, maybe that's a good assessment or a good analogy. I believe it is.
It's sight fishing all year long. Like it literally, I'm trying to remember who it was with. Maybe it was Davey, but there was a group of us talking about it at the Classic. And we were like, when do you think it's going to switch to like every fish you hook needs to be hooked on the inside of their mouth? You know, just like the sight fishing rules, because that is what they're doing. They are sight fishing fish that are in 20 feet of water. And that's the biggest difference. It's not the fish they're catching. It's that every single cast you learn from, whether it's, you know, the negative reaction, a positive reaction, whatever, every single cast you learn something from the fish. It eliminates all of the downtime. There's no, hey, I'm fishing a brush pile and I'm going to try 3 or 4 different lures to see what they bite.
Yeah.
If you don't see a fish in the brush pile, you move on. So it's amazing what it's doing to the whole sport.
Yeah. I mean, crazy. I don't care. I just like catching fish, and I'm going to do it. I just figured out side imaging, and that helped me a lot catch fish in the last few years. So I'm all about anything, you know. Are you good at it, Dave? That forward facing deal? Are you on that? You've been practicing with it, or?
No, I've spent very little time doing it myself, to be honest. I've watched a lot of people do it. I'll just be getting a unit on my boat here shortly. So I have not been using it myself. But that also proves to me how lethal that stuff is, because even without ever using it, it gets in my head. Like if I'm fishing a lake and I look over and I'm like, they know what's here. They can see, you know what I mean? Like it totally changes. It's not 360. It's not side imaging. It's live. It totally changes the way everything works. And it's the first time in my life where I've been like, maybe it's too much. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're ever going to put a rule in against it or anything like that. Because the companies that make it also sponsor all the leagues. So it's not hard to figure out how that works. But
it's progression, man. It's progression of the sport. Dave, look about it this way. Think of it this way. When you were a kid, you were like, you know, you're fishing with your pop and your brother, and you're like, hey, I want my own bass boat. You know why? Because all the fish are in the middle. And then you get a bass boat and you end up beating the bank. You know what I mean? But now you got a bass boat, and now you're getting a new toy, and now you're going back to the middle. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a full circle. All the fish are in the middle. They just cruise. Giants cruise, we're learning. Always. Nomadic.
Well, I don't think always.
Not always. That's a bad thing to say, always. But they cruise more than we think. Let's put it that way.
I think fish in general, just from the time I've spent probably hundreds, if not thousands of hours now swimming with bass. And they do more crap that we don't think about than any of us ever admit. You know, we think they swim across a weed line, they stay to the edge and all that. Yeah, they do that a lot, but they also just blindly swim out in the middle.
Yeah.
They also just bury themselves in weed and don't sit at an edge or anything like that. It is pretty amazing to study them, and you realize, you know, we make educated guesses, but a lot of times they don't play by our rules.
A lot of it was really good stuff in bass in history. And it's like because we didn't have the technology to necessarily know all the facts, but the technology at hand led us to the facts that we have now, if that makes any sense. I don't think, without the forefathers and the George Perry spoon pluggers and these type of things going on, we wouldn't have any of this crap, Dave, to even evolve it.
Well, yeah. I mean, and without like Alexander Graham Bell before them, we wouldn't have any. Thank God they invented a car.
Yes.
No, I totally
Fred
get
Flintstone.
Yeah.
Where did we go? I don't know.
I don't know. This is where these always go, Pat.
No, but I have fun with it. At least you remember the one time you took off on a moped? Like you came on the show on a
Was
moped?
not a moped. It was a side by side.
Oh, side by side. I'm sorry. It was. Yeah. That's bad that I said moped. No, as a side by side. I know you looked badass. You had a cape on. You even had a cape. It was pretty.
I don't know if I had a cape.
No,
on,
Jen,
but...
that's how I remember it. In my mind, you had a dang cape. You were kind of like Captain Insano. You were like, you remember, from the Sandler movie, Captain Insano?
Yeah,
that's
the wrestler.
Yeah, that's what
Billy
it was.
Madsen.
Yes, that's what it was to me.
Had the mandible claw.
Yes.
I got none of that tonight. I'm just in a cheap Hampton. I got the same 3 pictures, no matter where you stay, no matter where you go. I mean, those 3 horrible paintings.
It looks like you have some very modern type furniture in there. Very Jetson.
Oh yeah, it's very well very well appointed, and it comes with free warm cookies at 6 o'clock. I have mad Hampton points.
What time you get up in the morning? Because we're not going to keep you all night. What time you get up?
Tomorrow takeoff's not till 7:30, so it's not a bad. I'll get up tomorrow at 5.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not so bad. We're about a half hour away from takeoff, so
good.
This one isn't that bad. But I'll get up, go to takeoff, and then we do live all day, and then do the weigh-in in the afternoon.
So I want to get back. I want to go back to the.
Yeah, let's go back.
Let's get back to the Wayback Machine of the Dave Mercer, the Bassin Man. I got off on a tangent because I was a little curious about your schedule, but I want to get to more of that. But
okay,
so here's
I'll answer anything.
You used to be a derber. I know from having you on the show before. Like you were a guy that slept in his truck. Like that type of derber, like a Palahniuk type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you were that into Durbin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's serious. Like I think you told us before you were with your dad and your brother. You did a lot of fishing with them, and eventually branched out to your own individual derber. Like you just left it for TV. Is that what you did? Or did you not feel you were that great at it? Was it frustrating? What was it?
None of the above, really. But I mean, I think everybody has what they're supposed to do. And in my early 20s, I was like, I mean, there was never anything that, like, since grade school, I've said I want to fish for a living, but I had no plan with it or anything like that. So I started fishing tournaments when I was 13, was lucky, did okay, and fished tournaments. And then school was done, and I kept fishing tournaments. But I still, even in my early 20s, was like, this life's not for me. Like, I loved the competition, but I just hated that lifestyle and being away as much as you are, which is ironic because I'm away.
Now you're doing it.
But it's different. Like I get to stay at the Hampton and I don't have to worry about charging my boat tonight or anything.
Yeah. Or catching 5 fish.
No. Yeah, and I have had to be here for a week, beforehand and stuff like that. So, but early on, I decided, I was like, and the 2 things that I've always felt at home doing is fishing and communicating, whether it be through, speeches. Like I've won the speech contest like every year in grade school. It was ridiculous.
That's awesome.
They had to put a rule in. I forget what grade, I think grade 7 or whatever. We had a rule came in that you had to write your speech on cue cards. Because I got busted one year because I just had empty cue cards and made up shit.
Nice.
For the whole thing.
Yes.
It was it was a speech on the blue whale. All I know is how it started. I was like, look at the back of this room. That is just the blue whale's tail. And then I went on this crap, but I knew the facts, but I've never been good at taking what's in my head and putting it on paper. And I was really bad at it at school. So I kind of won those were the two areas that I always felt at home: fishing and kind of entertaining people. And I just, I literally went to Baba Zumi's house, who's a big deal in Canada.
Oh yeah,
big
we
deal
love
all
his
around
show.
the world. And he had a beautiful house, and I was like, Bob, how'd you get this house? He's like, TV. And I'm like, perfect. I need to get into TV. And we started a series of, 1 minute tips that kind of grew, and then it became a half-hour show. And the weird thing is, I went to 10 classics before I ever worked a classic for bass, like, working with sponsors and stuff. And I would sit in that arena every year and I'd be like, did I screw up? Like, my life is a dream, but I would always be like, man, I gave up on this. Like, I'm not saying I could have dominated or anything like that, but I think that if I stuck around long enough, I would have made a few classics and had an impact and felt, that feeling. So every year I'd be there at the weigh-in and I'd always think, man, did I really screw up? And ironically, the way life works out, I end up being part of that show anyways. You know what I mean? Like, the year before I got hired by Bass, I sat in the seats and had no idea this time next year you'll be emceeing this thing. And that's the crazy thing about life. If you care about stuff enough, work hard enough, and are decent to work with, it's crazy the amount of opportunities that will come your way.
And what year was that, Dave? That you started 11? 2000, like 11, 10, 11?
Yeah,
10,
2011.
Okay.
The last one I did in MC was 10.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Wow. What a long space trip it's been, as they say. Yikes.
Yeah, in some ways it feels really long. In other ways, it feels like it literally just started. Like, I'm like, we haven't been doing this that long. But then there's the other part of you where you're like, we've been doing this forever. But it's the coolest thing in the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I already know that one day I'm going to sit on a rocking chair somewhere, hopefully, if I get lucky, and be like, man, I was involved with Bass when they made Bass Live. I got to be part of that. I got to be part of the war room before Bass Live. All these different things, these different evolutions, that it's pretty cool to think that you got to be part of that and work with that entire crew, Tommy, Zona, and the entire crew, not just the ones you see on camera, but behind the camera. It's an incredibly hardworking group. And it's been an honor to just be a small part of it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a good bunch. That's for sure. And I'm fascinated by Tommy Sanders. There's no doubt about it. The guy, just have one-on-one combos with him. Guy blows my mind. I don't know. He just says that whatever he says is cool to me. I don't know.
And it's true. When I first started working with him, I thought he lied. Like, we'd go places and he'd be like, "There's a northern sycamore tree that only buds every third year," or whatever. And I'd be like, whatever. I got Google. I'm going to beat this dude. And you'd look and you'd be like, evidently he does know crap about stuff. And he's incredible. Like, him and Zona, I say it all the time, like, we're lucky to have them in our sport, because I honestly believe that they could host Monday Night Football. They could host the Olympics. They could host anything. And I would want to listen to them. Their chemistry together is incredible. And
Zona could host dodgeball games too. He would be an amazing dodgeball commentator.
Yes. And roller derby probably too.
Yeah, he would nail that one. Absolutely, he would.
He really wants to do golf. Tommy likes to do golf. So if you know anyone at the PGA or anybody, let Tommy do a golf game. Dang it.
I know Jack Nicholson.
We think he's good.
From The Shining. I know Jack Nicholson. We could get him in.
Oh, yeah. Set it up. Yeah. Set it up. Why does that not shock me?
Hey, last time we had you on the show, you told us all about the hog crawl. Like, well, you didn't tell us all about the hog crawl, but what is the hog crawl? We knew about that you had a bait that you'd brought to the tackle stores and stuff like that. But
it was one of my failed endeavors is what it was.
Well, what's the bait? Like, I'd never asked you what it looked like.
All it was, honestly, is a tube jig
Yeah.
and I took a craw bait and shoved it up the butthole of the tube, and that was a hog craw. And
kind of like a tube craw.
well, yeah, but this was long before there was tube craws or anything like that.
For
You know what I
crying
mean?
out
So it kind
loud.
of gave a different look. And honestly, it was just everything I've done is a means to an end. You know what I mean? Like I've been lucky to be involved in stuff like that, been lucky to be involved in different things, but it's all just a means to an end because I love this sport. And
Hold
I
on,
need
Dave.
to be
Hold
part of
on.
this.
I got to put it in my iPhone notes real quick. A note. This is very important. Hold on. Remind Brad Rutherford to make Dave Mercer hog craw accent shape for Berkeley. Okay. Now we got the Dave Mercer signature hog craw tube jig coming.
Oh,
up.
yeah. I've
So
been working
why
on
don't
it
we
for
have
years.
that? We need a tube craw at Berkeley. And that's what a perfect, this is apropos, as they say in the French passing world.
I didn't even know what that means.
Yeah, me neither, but
But-
it means it's a good thing.
Okay, good.
So
Good.
can we not? Why can't we pitch this, Dave? I want a tube craw from Berkeley in
They're
Maxent.
coming out at ICAST. This has all been a ruse, ladies and gentlemen. This year at ICAST, swing by the Pure Fishing booth.
Look
Find
how they
out
did this.
what you've been missing.
There it is, the Dave Mercer hog craw accent. Coming soon with theater near you.
I'm all in. All
All right, no, for real, that's an amazing idea. You got to admit that is, Dave. Come on, bring
Yeah,
back the
I mean-
hog craw. Bring back the hog craw. Start
There
the
has been
campaign.
people looking for it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the campaign starts now on the Straight Cast Show. We're begging you in Canada, in America, in everywhere, Jamaica,
All around the world.
Bermuda, Bahama, baby, don't you wanna bring the hog craw back to Berkeley? That's where it belongs. Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
It's been a public service
All right.
announcement for the hog craw, Dave Mercer's original
All right.
bait.
Let's see how much juice you got with Brad.
I'm calling him, dude. Promise. I'm calling him. He knows. He's already seeing this. He knows. He already knows. Hey, what's like? You've done all kinds of great stuff as far as bassing in your life. Cool places, fish cool lakes. Like, what's a bucket list for you still? Where you want to go? You ever jack peacocks? You ever do that kind of stuff? Yeah.
I've done the peacock trip a few times, and that's incredible. What I'd really like to do is I'd like to catch golden dorado. I'd like to
Ooh,
do that at some point.
They
I'd
hit
also
top
like
water
to go
plugs.
to Egypt and catch tigerfish.
Yes.
But those are kind of my bucket lists.
Okay.
Some saltwater. I've never caught a permit. I'd like to hammer a big permit.
You ever get on that tarpon, Dave? On the tarpon or the snooks?
Yeah.
Yeah, me
I've
too.
caught some big tarpon. Those are awesome. Caught some big groupers.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'd like to, I think those are my bucket list. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, when you have a cool life and you get to do cool stuff, the bucket list just gets even more ridiculous. You got to go to countries where they're going to shoot at you to catch fish. But
and I want to, that's like everything that you said is something I definitely want to do with the tigerfish 100%, as well as I want those, they're called payaras. They're the vampire fish. They jump in.
I've caught them. They're awesome.
Don't they eat monkeys? I want to use a monkey for bait. Can we do this?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Peter. What about Peter?
I think that the monkeys would whoop your. I don't think you could handle a monkey.
Larry Dahlberg would hook it would nose hook it for me, or I don't know. Maybe you neck hook them. I don't know. Do you nose hook monkeys or do you neck hook them when you're in fishing?
I don't know. They just threw poo at me when I saw them in the wild.
That's what Dahlberg told me.
Really
Did they do that for real? Because Dahlberg got attacked by them. Yeah, that's insane.
They throw crap at you.
Amazon's a crazy place, bud.
Yeah. The craziest thing about being in the Amazon, and I've been lucky to be a few times, is not the things you think of. Like you think I'm going to see, an anaconda or something like that.
Or headhunters, quicksand, quicksand, headhunters, all that.
Yeah, there is people that don't get exposed to other people in that part of the world. But the craziest thing for me was, honestly, and I tell this story all the time, was literally just one day I'm sitting there and a flock of parrots just flew over. You know what I mean? Like Toucan Sam, like the whole cereal box full just flew past, and you don't think about it. You know what I mean? And they're like seagulls there.
Flock of parrots. That band is amazing. An 80s band. I love them, Dave.
Yeah. And the other thing listen to this. The piranhas, not tough at all in the Amazon. We think of them as tough, but really in the Amazon, they are a crappie in our food chain. You know what I mean? Or a bluegill. And there's so many of them. You cast a rattle bait out the whole way back to the boat, you'll feel dunk, 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 they're hitting your bait. They don't hook up a lot because they got small mouths. But there's so many of them, and the guides and stuff will just swim right through them. They won't do anything. In a tank, they're tough. But in the Amazon, they are the bottom of the food chain.
But they're also tough on Lake Placid, where they gnaw bikinis off of hot babes. We saw that movie in Piranha 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So
is that all they? I mean, hopefully they make more.
Yeah. the piranhas are they're basically like just little nothings, nothing at all.
Yeah.
You could swim. Yeah. You could swim.
I caught a 5-pound piranha when we were down there, and the guide actually did a flesh mount, really cool, like European mount, I guess they would call it.
Oh, nice.
But how they do it is like legit. They basically boil the head of this piranha, and then they put it in the dirt and leave it overnight. There's so many like bugs and larvae and stuff. They unbury it in the morning, and all the meat and everything's gone from it. It's wild.
Unreal.
Yeah. Don't know how I got it through customs, but I got it back.
That's pretty cool. Related, unrelated, but I want to tell you the story, Dave. I was over by Leslie and Aaron's house recently in Leeds over there, and speaking of skulls, I go in the backyard and Jordan, Aaron and Leslie's daughter, is back there. And she's pressure cleaning a coyote skull, Dave, that she had. She's like, yeah, I shot it through the heart, Pat. I'm like, right on, Jordan. That's freaking awesome.
There's things you hear when you hang out with anglers' kids that you never thought you'd hear. Like I remember at one time, WFM was starting this show with me, and it was actually called the Mercer Show. And that's the whole reason our podcast is called the Mercer Podcast. I hate the name, to be honest. Gotcha. I didn't want it. But the crew that I work with, they're like, hey, we got a logo. We still... So that's why it became the Mercer Podcast. But this show that we were doing for WFN, I went to interview Randy Howland. This is after he won the Bassmaster Classic. It was kind of like a sit-down, one-on-one interview. So I'd spend the whole day with him around his house and his family and everything doing these interviews. And Laker was out hunting, like when I first arrived there. And we went to a Mexican restaurant for lunch. This Mexican restaurant, and he has like queso. And Robin Howell turns to him and says, you can't just eat queso for lunch. I mean, you need more than that. And he's like, Mama, I ate 2 squirrels this morning. And I was like,
he's proteined up, son.
Yeah. You know? I mean, he's a big kid now.
Yeah, he sure. I seen him at the BMC. Yeah, he's doing well for himself.
Yeah. Things you never thought you'd hear.
He had 2 squirrels this morning. Well, we learned that at the BMC also that the Hibden family pretty much survives on deer, which kind of like that's their burliness. You know what I mean? Like, bring me out another side of deer. Like LFG.
Well, what else would they survive? They're the Hibdens.
That's what I'm saying. Like they just tie jigs and eat deer and catch bass. That's
what else you need to do.
Exactly, man. Well, I'm glad you have a cool adventure list still to do, Dave.
Always. I want to do more with my family, though. That's the big thing that I feel pulling now. Like, I've done all this cool stuff and been lucky enough to go a lot of cool places, but and I think it's something that every parent goes through. Like, as your kids start to get older, you're like, oh, we need to do more together. So I want to try and bring my family to a lot of places. That's kind of my big drive right now.
You ever been to Mexico? Maybe not the place for a family, but you ever been bassing in Mexico?
Oh, yeah. I've been to Mexico bassing a bunch of times. Actually, I've been vacationing.
Mexico is a good spot for family. Yeah, Fighter was.
Yeah. It was good times. Good times in Mexico.
Yeah. I'm going to Mexico, Dave. I'm so excited for the first time ever. I'm going to Mexico.
Where are you going?
I don't even know. I didn't even get a passport yet. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's probably not going to work out well for you.
No, I end up. That's
Don't
how.
worry, my friend. You're going to go to the best lake in all of Mexico. Just come.
Bud, I Ferris Bueller myself through stuff every day. I don't like when it's time to open the email. I'll figure out where I got to go. That's what I'll do.
All right.
And then you
All
don't open the emails until you're ready to do things with them, Dave. I taught you that, and then they think you didn't see it. Remember? That's bad.
Why do you check the read receipts?
No, but I think people might. I don't even know where the read receipt is.
I don't know either.
Yeah, so don't open it, because that's a thing. Because people will be like, "I saw you opened my email." Yeah. Tie me to that.
That's what the world's become, though. Because if you don't open the email, you're going to get a text. And if you don't answer that, you're going to get a DM.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, "Hi, I've tried to email you, but you're not answering."
I see you've tied me to the tracks and the train is coming. Can you please answer my text? Yes. I know. All right. Hey, Dave.
What is that laugh for?
That was Snidely. That was Snidely Whiplash. That's an old. He's actually a Canadian guy.
I know Snidely Whiplash got a skinny mustache and a top hat.
Yeah, and then what was the Canadian guy that was a Mountie? That he was on the Dudley Do-Right, bud.
Dudley Do-Right.
Dudley.
It's totally American created Mountie.
He is. Speaking of American created Mounties, I think America fell in love with you first, Dave. Wow, that was a segue right there. Canadian created Mountie. America fell in love with you first in your shorts. Like, for real. We talked a little bit about it before, but I think that's the first place we initially were introduced to you, Dave Mercer. And it was like, okay, cool. We need humor in Bassin, but I could tell right away, and for real, I'm being sincere, that it ran deep with you. And you already said it. You like to catch fish and you like to entertain, and you found your place. And I relate to that. Dave. And here's an analogy that you may have never heard before. It's what you did was kind of sleep your way to the top, but it's different. Yeah. I'm going to give you an analogy. Now there's a Playboy model, an actress, American. Oh yeah, I like it, Ginge. Yeah. Playboy actress or Playboy model, an actress. She was even married to Jim Carrey, but a very ambitious woman who, quite frankly, did not have to sleep her way to the top. I think she just gave half a handy, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, what she did was she walked up to the door at the Playboy offices in Chicago, and she said, "I want to be a Playboy model. I want to be in Hollywood. I want to be in California. I want to be a star." And they're like, "Wow, no one has ever actually done that before." Now you're wondering, why am I bringing Jennifer McCarthy? You know Jen McCarthy, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that about her?
She's half the reason that people don't, that people think that she started that all anti-vax crap. And then it turns out she's like, "Oh, damn, it turns out my kid's not autistic. I was totally wrong, world. Sorry."
Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Whatever. I'm just bringing her story into it, and here's your parallel, okay?
No. I mean, Jim Carrey, a great Canadian as well.
Yeah. Oh, Jim Carrey's Canadian? I didn't even know that. That's pretty cool.
Well, no, because when somebody's successful in America, you just assume he's American.
I thought you were American until I researched the show today. I mean, I had no freaking idea.
If
I had no
border
idea.
Keeps going like it does, I might be American. You never know.
God bless the USA and Canada. But here's the parallel, bud. Here's what you did. And not a lot of people know this about you. But you knew what you wanted at an early age. And you basically walked up to a TV station in Canada with like an idea. Yeah. And you're like, "Hey, I want to be in the fishing deal. I got an idea. Let's do this." And they were kind of like, hadn't seen that before either. And that's kind of what got your start. From what I know about you, from what you've told me, from what I've heard you maybe tell others, it's like, I think that was the Kindle. And that's the parallel between you and Jen McCarthy. Do you get it now?
I guess, yeah. I'm Ryan Seacrest and Jen McCarthy all wrapped up in one. So
Yeah. You're
I mean, I'll be busy on New Year's Eve anyways. They both usually have a gig on New Year's Eve.
and you
so-
could do it together and get paid twice the amount.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? But you could. I
Yeah.
honestly believe that about life. Like, I really do believe that. If you wanted to do that, if that became your obsession, you would be able to do that. Because how different is that than a dude from Canada is going to host the Bassmasters one day? I mean, it's so ridiculous.
What would you like? What would somebody, if somebody would have, like, and no disrespect, obviously, to anyone involved, but what if somebody said that the race got in '68? You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we're gonna have a Canadian MC one day, and Ray's gonna be like, Bill, pull the station wagon up. I gotta get the boat back on the rack. You know, that's. Come on, Billy Dance, somebody talking about Canadian MCs. We gotta go.
I don't know how I ended up here. It's awesome. It's awesome. But it shows you, like, I honestly do believe that. And I tell my kids that every day. I'm like, talent doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't. Like, everybody values talent in every sport. You watch any newscast, they talk about talent and how important it is. But we also see talent get wasted every single day. The only thing that matters in life, literally, is work hard. Work harder than everybody else. And be decent to work with. And I honestly believe that if you're decent to work with and you work harder than anybody else, everybody wants you to be part of their team.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the only, like, because talent and everything, it doesn't matter. Talent can be wasted. Talent can be an excuse for so many things. But at the end of the day, everybody would rather work with somebody who they know is going to show up and work their ass off every single day. And that's honestly the only thing I can say that I've done different than a lot of people is you have to be relentless. I mean, there is no happily ever after. You can't. I used to think one day I'm going to get this job, but I'm going to be like, I can relax. No, you can't. The moment you relax, you're losing ground. Life is like a freaking treadmill, and you better keep up, or else you're going to get knocked off the back and be a hit YouTube video laying on your ass.
Yeah, everybody's got a hungry heart. If you, I mean, yeah,
so,
like Springsteen said. No, you got to keep on top.
Born to run.
Yeah, you got to keep on top of it, Dave, and it's and yeah, you're in it to win it, as evident from an early age. You wear a lot of hats, as we said. Like, what's your favorite hat? Pick a favorite hat.
Oh, that's tough.
MC Dave? Podcast
well, my
host
favorite
Dave?
hat is dad and husband
Okay, well, yes.
hat, but that's a boring answer for
No,
everybody.
and that's obviously the most important answer for real, but
I'd say probably, I mean, I love hosting a show, but I think the oddity that I ended up with the job at Bass, and it's such a rare job. It's such a, I mean, I've always used the analogy. It's like it doesn't matter how talented you are. You could be the funniest stand-up comic of the time. The Tonight Show's not often hiring.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
so many things. And Bass is the same. There's probably people who are way better MCs than me. But damn, I'm not going to do anything to lose this job. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how good you are right now. I'm going to keep trying to keep this job as long as I can. And so I guess if I had to say one hat being my favorite, probably the MC thing, just because it's so, like, it's bizarre. Like,
Yeah, no,
how
it's
did
amazing.
that work out?
It's an amazing thing. And here's something that you brought to mind, Dave, when you were talking about that. The people that have longevity in this business, I notice as a fan of the sport, because ultimately that's what I am, that you all have one thing, and you all have the BDE. It's the Bass dictated energy. Everybody that realizes that the Bass is center and stays that way seems to have some longevity in the sport. Agree or disagree with me, Dave?
Yeah. I mean, I'd agree. And if we didn't learn something in the last number of years, there's always the next guy up. And I don't mean that as an insult, but, the best at whatever job is, everything's temporary. You know what I mean? And when you start to think that we don't matter, you know what I mean? I don't matter. My job as an MC is incredible, and I'm thankful for every bit of it. But I don't matter personally. That microphone matters. The microphone that I'm lucky enough to hold and the stage that I'm lucky enough to stand on matters. Because if that goes away tomorrow, I don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. And I didn't want that to sound bad, but it's true. It's like, you know, everybody, you know, at one time it seemed like unfathomable that Bass would be without Denny Brower.
Yeah.
But they moved on. You know what I mean? And that is the amazing thing about Bass. I mean, it's
but Denny Brower's back at Bass in his heart, just so you know. Uncle Denny's.
Okay, yeah. I don't think he ever left.
No, he never.
I mean, and I'm happy that I got to introduce one of his wins, which was a big bucket list for me.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is like, we're all just very lucky. I hate the thing I hate about fishing is we spend so much time focusing on bull crap and like, it could be so much better if we did this. What if we charged for the classic? What if we did this? What if you just stop back and look and be like, there's a freaking arena full of people willing to cheer a dude holding some fish up with a bunch of fireworks.
Pretty awesome.
It's way better than we ever imagined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is everything that's happening right now is everything that Ray Scott dreamed of. And we're lucky to be living it.
Yeah. Even the Canadian MC. Ray Scott may have even dreamed of that. You never know. He may have.
No, I don't know if he dreamed of me, but Ray's been good to me. Ray actually sent me a rod to the classic. So
Did he really?
Thankful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I never met Ray. That's one of the guys in the industry I've never crossed paths with. I hear that, you know, he's in maybe not the best of health these days, but so I don't know. Will we ever see Ray Scott around again, or is that done, Dave? As far as
I don't know. I mean, that's up to Ray, but I think that I mean, that's up to Ray. I mean, I communicate with him and I see him every once in a while. I'd like to see him more, but I don't. But I think that's up to him. And there's also like, I think when you shine so bright as Ray Scott did, I mean, like, you can't even compare what I do to what he did. I mean, dude rode into arenas on elephants.
Yeah.
Shot himself out of cannon and did all the coolest, most bizarre stuff ever.
So amazing.
But I think when you shine so bright, it's almost like when you look at anybody, you know what I mean? Like, well, look at all great stand-up comics and stuff as they age. I mean, because that shines so bright, I think in some ways it's cool to have Ray the way he, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, that's what we're always going to remember. Ray
I see where you're going. Yeah. I like it. I like it, Dave. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, he's an amazing man. He is him and I'm in touch with Bob Cobb all the time. I mean,
yeah, it's good to see
Bob.
him. Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool, dude. Amazing.
Yeah, no, he's great. And bass fishing has changed his life too, like in multiple times, not just from the early days, but I mean, Bob lost his wife and Bob was lost.
Oh, wow.
Like literally lost, you know, like did not know what he was anymore or where he was. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was disconnected. And that's the whole reason he wrote that book, because he wanted the stories to be told, but it also brought him back to the industry. And that's the amazing thing. When you sit, like I sat at the live set at the Classic, and the whole time I'm on live, I'm watching it. Bob Cobb's standing up, signing autographs for people and just loving every single minute of it. Like, I'm sure he didn't get out of bed for like the next week afterwards, but it was awesome to see what bass fishing has given him, and not just his job, but even post job. I mean, it's he's a special part of the sport.
He
right?
sure
always
is.
Remember that.
An icon of the Bass Galaxy, no doubt about it. And it's great to see him still around for sure. I want to talk about Road Dave. You know, Dave on the road a little bit.
All right.
And everybody, no matter what, no matter who you are in what profession, gets frustrated. in life, at things, at their occupation, at their job, at life. What's your coping mechanism? What's like Dave Mercer's reset button? What's your coping mechanism? What do you do?
On the road?
Yeah, on the road or whenever. Like actually
Drink.
when.
I don't have to have a big coping mechanism because I don't think a lot of people ever wonder where they stand with me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a very passionate person.
Sure.
And that shows in good ways and in bad ways. You know what I mean? Like, if something's not right on stage or something, you know, like I'll be voiceful about that. So I don't feel that. I feel like, again, we're not curing cancer. We have a trivial little job. We got to decide who has the 5 biggest bass each day, and we got to yell some stuff about them. I try not to get too stressed about it. I mean, the only thing I really get stressed about, to be honest, is travel. Like, I mean, if they would invent a teleporter, I'd never be stressed because
Be nice.
I mean, you just hate being away all the time.
Hot tub time machine.
Yeah, and there's a good way to deal with stress. A hot tub time machine.
I'm just curious. I didn't know, like, it just seems, a lot of people remove themselves from situations for a moment or whatever. Yours seems to be, like you said, okay, if there's something seems to be bothering you about production at the time or whatever, you kind of just nip it in the bud. Is that a fair assessment?
I'd say. And I also realized that there's only so much stuff you need to be worried about. You know, we spend way too much time stressed about crap, like it's things are pretty good. I mean, I don't think that I get that stressed outside of travel and everything. I'm a pretty mellow dude.
You seem that way. You seem calm, cool, and collected when I see you on the road. That's for sure.
I'm pretty calm. I mean, I get like, things bother me. Unprofessionalism bothers me. Like, when people don't take things serious, like stupid things, like making sure you continue to put a podcast out every single week, stupid stuff like that, like different things. When I make commitments, it doesn't matter whether because half the stuff that I do, I make nothing from. It's not a financial end, but it's like my parents always taught me, you need to follow through. I mean, if you say you're going to do something, do tenfold of what you said you were going to do. And I always and I think there's a weird thing in the world now where people are very lackadaisical. People are very like, I'll get another opportunity, or screw that guy, it's not my fault. So yeah, those are the only things that really bother me.
Hey, I got to tell you, like, I might be that guy. Like, I'm not going to do a podcast every week. Like, but I don't think I'm being lazy about it because I have a method to my madness.
Okay, I think a lot of lazy people say that, Pat.
No, I know you're right. You're right about that. I'll give you that, touche. But no, it's like I do have a reason why I wouldn't do a podcast every week.
No, and that's different. But what I'm saying is, like, when I make a commitment to do certain things, I believe it's important to follow through. And the podcast was just one example. It doesn't matter what it is. You know what I mean? Like, if you are lucky enough to do this, you bet. Like, the weirdest thing in our industry is people that don't return media people's calls and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, there was a time that nobody was calling me. So as much as part of me hated to even think of doing this podcast with you the night before a tournament, you know what I mean? Like, I'm be totally honest. I'm like, I got to do this.
I get it, bud.
But the other part of me is like, thank God I'm getting asked to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I get it. And that's the thing when I do, like, I'm not necessarily a 100% weekly kind of guy. I just do shows. Like, I'm doing a freaking show. Not that anybody else doesn't, but I'm showing.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. But it doesn't. I mean, there is method to madness when you don't don't get hung up on the fact that I said a podcast. It's just
I just wanted to make sure you weren't nabbing at me.
I mean? It's like I hate the fact that last year, the first day of Santee Cooper, I didn't do the weighing because I had strep throat. I hate that. I hate the fact that I missed 2 events. Like, to me, it's like you got an opportunity to always show up, no matter what. And so, yeah, no, I'm a weirdo that way. That stuff drives me crazy. But I think as you get older, you get just a little bit more chill. Like, I used to freak out about a lot of stuff. Now I'm just very chill.
I get it. And I actually cope with things the same way you do, because I like to talk about things as they happen. You know, like, instead of letting things stew. You and I have had conversations in the past on the phone about things and gotten through things. And that's why just like when you brought up now about just making sure you weren't talking about me with the being lazy.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking. I would tell you. I would say
you would call me and say, Pat, stop being lazy. I know you would.
No, but it's not that. I'm just like, just because, like, I just feel like when you commit to do something and you didn't commit to do a podcast every week.
You're
you
right.
do your show when you do your show. But I made a commitment to a lot of people that I said, I'm going to do this every week. And
it's so
it doesn't
tiring.
matter whether you're making zero money from it. What's that?
I said it gets tiring, Dave. I mean, again, it's an easy job, and not saying anything like that, but it just it's again like being an MC, as you know, also being a podcast host. It's those hats have their toughness to them.
Yeah, but I never get tired of the actual job. Like, if I had somebody to book all of them, that's the only part I dislike about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate that. I'm too close to a lot of guys, first of all, because I'm like, I know how busy you are, and I don't want to bug you to do a podcast.
I get it now. Yeah.
But then you do them, and so I always enjoy doing them.
Yeah, and you know what, Dave? I think there's plenty of living room as far as podcasts where we're talking about it. There's plenty of living room for everybody to do them. And I think that for the most part, that the podcasts do benefit the anglers, not just being biased as a talk show host, but I think that a lot of times the anglers don't realize how it benefits their brand by doing these shows.
Well, I think they do, but I just think there's a lot of them. There's an awful lot of them, and a lot of them that don't get very much traffic. And I get that you got to build and you got to do whatever, but it's a lot. Like, you have to understand, like, Jason Christie doesn't get 10 invites. He gets 100 invites.
No,
I
get
what
it.
I mean? So,
no, I get it.
And to be honest, dude, I never wanted to do a podcast like what the Mercer podcast became was never anything that I had envisioned doing. I just ended up in a situation, and I was like, well, I'm not going to stop doing a podcast because somebody said I should stop doing a podcast. You want to guarantee I'll do something? Tell me not to do it. And
I know exactly what you mean.
So to be honest, and that's maybe part of the reason that I'm having so much fun doing the Panger thing, because it is different. Like, I don't like to do things the same as everybody else. And I think our podcast is finding its way to be something a little different. We don't talk a lot about a lot of things that other podcasts talk about. But ultimately it's two talking heads into a Zoom machine.
Sure.
And there's a lot of that out there.
And Dave, you're doing a good job at it. I like that. And you said it before, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I won't name shows, but there's a lot of shows that don't seem that they prepare for the shows. And I don't think that might be disrespectful to the anglers. You know what I mean? Like, have a point of order when you're going to have this, and not just, tell me how it was to win the Bassmaster Classic. Go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, bud.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, that's the cool thing about podcasts too. I mean, there's an audience for all of it. There's some stuff that I'm like, why would anyone listen to this? But there's people at the edge of their seat going, wow, this is incredible stuff. So
there's a lot of living room.
That is the cool thing about today's world, that there is an audience for everything. It doesn't matter whether in the past networks and people in power decided who was going to make it here and there. Now people actually do. It's the first time in history where a 19-year-old kid with a cell phone literally has as much power as Coca-Cola. In the past, they never did because
Yeah,
they
right.
would block them out of the magazines, block them off TV, whatever. And now it's the great equalizer.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, and just quite frankly, I never in a million years thought that I personally would make a living being a talk show host at Bass Fishing. When I was a little boy, I wanted to be a pro bass fisherman. That's what I wanted to be, or a rock star. You know what I mean? But like, it's just unfathomable what this whole industry.
Pretty cool gig.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, Dave. Hey, yeah, I want to go back to Road Dave. A little bit back to Road Dave. Like,
I'll tell you what Road Dave really needs to do. Road Dave really needs to pee. So can you like play some patio music and tell a story while I pee?
Absolutely, go pee.
All right, go amongst yourself. I'll be right back.
No, he's. Hey, Ginge, do you have any like Benny Hill type stuff? All right, I'm going to tell you a story about the Bassmaster Classic. All right, you ready? And time Mercer's pee too. This is the first ever timed bathroom break, potty break. All right, so Ginge, going to the Bassmaster Classic, running through. Who do I see? Who basically picks me up? Basically picks me up with one hand and says hello. Guess who could pick me up with one hand? Who? Buff. Yeah, old Buff. Dustin Bufflin. Oh, gosh, yeah. I was like, what the heck are you doing here? I proceeded to take Buff to his house, and he had a Airbnb in the hood. Buff was not scared. That's my Bassmaster Classic story while Dave Mercer peed. Thank you. Hey, welcome back, Dave Mercer. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good. Much better.
That's quick. That was a quick bladder release. Good job.
But I put my all into it. I am a professional, Pat.
I could tell. And speaking of all into it, back to the road, Dave. What's your guilty pleasure on the road? Like, what's your guilty pleasure? What's a treat? Like, you have a great day. What do you, besides having a drink, but what's a guilty pleasure for Dave Mercer for a little reward for yourself?
I'm trying to think. I guess like a shake. I like shake.
Me too.
Shakes
I love
good.
ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream's good. I mean, it's like caulking. You've always got room for ice cream.
What's your favorite flavor if you're talking ice creams, bud?
Oh, I go strawberry.
Okay.
I'm pretty simple. Strawberry or like a raspberry ripple, something like that.
Okay. What's the best store
Fruity.
brand of ice cream? Like you're going in the whatever your stores are in Canada. What's the store brand that you buy?
I have no idea, but I like Bluebell ice cream, which is in America, so I'll pick that.
Okay. I like Haagen-Dazs. I love the Haagen-Dazs, especially Haagen-Dazs strawberry.
Overdone.
I don't know, bud. That Haagen-Dazs strawberry is pretty special, Mercer, with the chunks and everything. Come on.
Yeah.
Talking to an ice cream guy.
What is the other one in Vermont? What's the big one?
The Ben & Jerry. But they
Ben
did
and
something
Jerry's.
against police officers, and I don't like them anymore. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Did they really, or was it just something that?
I don't know. It might have not been true on the internet. I don't know. I got to look it up. But they used monkeys for bait. They did
the Cherry Garcia.
Yeah.
I like.
I like Cherry Garcia too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
And they had they have one because I got a bunch of people sent it to me. Boom Chakalaka. They have a new flavor.
Oh,
so,
interesting. And they have Funky
try
Monkey.
the Boom Chakalaka.
They have the Funky Monkey too.
Yes. Yeah, so that'd be my guilty pleasure, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm had a lot of pleasures in my life. I'm trying to cut down on pleasures, to be honest.
I get you too, Dave. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I just love Coca-Cola and I love ice cream. I just really have a problem with both of those. Like,
most of the world does have a problem with those.
they're just such good. They're God's nectar. Like Coca-Cola and ice cream. I don't understand.
Yeah. Do you like ice cream floats?
I'd like
I've
it
never
all.
got into that.
Well, here's what I do. I'll be honest with you. If I'm making an ice cream float, it's going to be a root beer one. And there's going to be more ice cream in it than just like float. You know what I mean? It's going to be more like a thinner root beer shake. if that makes sense
Okay.
to you. I like that
Okay.
we're talking ice cream. I could do this forever. Like I'm I make shakes, amazing shakes. Like get this, Dave. So I'll take different flavors. Like for example, we'll take a little strawberry Haagen-Dazs, okay? Maybe a little banana split Deans, right? I mix it up with a little vanilla quick, the vanilla quick milk, right?
Yeah.
You following me?
Squeeze it in.
Yeah,
Like the-
yeah. No. This is the actual milk form. I'm pouring it in. It's the milk because I'm making a shake now. Is what I'm doing. And then I add I add Oops All Berries from Captain Crunch. Not with the Captain Crunch in it, but just Oops All Berries. That's a milkshake right there. I promise you, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It definitely sounds it.
Yeah, I'd like to
Definitely
make you one. I'd like to make you one sometime, Dave. I'd like you to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an
I would do that.
It's
I
an
would
oops
do
all.
that.
It's an oops all strawberry shake. But anyway, on to serious business. We got to go serious here because I still want to find out a bit more about you. Because I'm asking you questions in case you haven't noticed. I relate to you a little, Dave. So I'm asking you some questions here. So
All right.
I'm trying to figure. Eddie Vedder's not cutting it for me as my therapist, so now you're my therapist too. But
Okay.
listen.
Okay.
So you're Dave the funny guy. You've said it before. Like you're a funny guy, right? You consider yourself that?
I think that most, yeah, I mean, that's the way I've related to people my whole life.
Yeah.
I think it, I don't know. I think everybody has
Humor.
different ways, but I it's always been a go-to, for me, like, that I don't even like horror movies or anything like that. Like that's so
Okay.
I like happiness. Like I literally, my wife and kids make fun of me all the time. I'm like, why are we watching this? Like, we don't need to watch people dying on ER and stuff like that. That's happening in the world. Let's just watch happiness. Like, I mean, so yeah, no, that's always been something that I've always related with, I guess. I don't know. I think being funny is a relative term. Like it depends.
Funny,
who you're
ha-ha,
talking to.
or funny.
There's times where, I mean, funny in itself, just the word at its basis. I mean, if I say that Pat's really funny, it could be a good thing. But if I'm like, yeah, Pat there, he's funny.
Yeah. I get it, but like you, so I think I'm a funny guy. I think you're a funny guy. Like, and maybe it's a coping mechanism too. Maybe back to coping, like humor could be a coping mechanism for guys like.
Well,
you.
yeah, no, I think everybody's crap like goes back to something. Like, dude, I moved from Ireland when I was 5 years old. I love to talk to people. I used to like when I went to grade school. I had a really cute accent, I guess.
Nice.
And teachers would literally like set me on the desk and tell me to tell stories. So evidently I found that was a way to get attention and feel good. So yeah, it's their fault, I guess. I don't know.
I thought it was amazing that we learned last time you were on the show that Van Morrison is your dad. That was really cool.
He is not.
Fake
He's
news.
Not. He would like to be. He would like to be.
Your mom did date him once, though. That is true.
Yes.
Yes.
He did.
It's
She
pretty
did
cool.
date Van
Pretty
Morrison.
cool, Mercer. It was a fantabulous
very
night for a romance. But
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you
Too bad my mom's name's not Gloria.
yeah.
But it's, I should tell people that. Gloria, that was my mother. No, that's so that again, my dad was an entertainer, you know what I mean? So a lot of it comes from that, like Irish people know how to talk, and I guess I just live up to that.
Yeah, I relate again. Here's the curse. Maybe it's not a curse, but maybe this. Sometimes I think this way. Tell me if you think this way. So, a lot of times, people may put it. Let me use you as an analogy. So
Okay.
you know a ton of facts about fishing. Facts of fishing. You know a lot about fishing. Voila. But maybe because of the funny guys maybe don't necessarily get the credit for knowing as much as they do. Does that make sense to you? Like maybe Curly in the Three Stooges was a genius. We just don't, you know what I mean? It's like, did you see where I'm going with this, Dave, or no?
I see where you're going, but I don't know that I agree. Like in my instance, I honestly believe at one point in my career, I pulled away from trying to be that guy, because to do my job at Bass, it requires me to be that guy. I'm the guy that's introducing the guys. I don't need to tell you. When I'm standing beside Davey Height, one of the biggest mistakes anybody on air makes is they try to be everything. You can only be what you are, and you'll only be happy and successful when you are yourself, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So, and the truth is, you need to be. So, for example, I might know a lot of stuff about fishing for a lot of different species, but when I'm standing beside a Bassmaster Classic champion, nobody on earth gives a crap about what I have to say about fishing. You know what I mean? So I feel that in many ways, like if I look at my career before Bass, I was doing a lot more of that kind of stuff, a lot more educational stuff and that. And I feel like without, like it wasn't a plan or anything, it's just a natural progression to do that job properly. You need to realize that you're only on that stage. The only reason I'm on that stage is to try and make that stage brighter and more impactful for the angler, not for me. I'm not on there for me. My image should, like, there's no part, like when I go out and do whatever, that is literally all just to get people to cheer for anglers, because they get one moment in this sport and you want to make it their moment. So I think intentionally at some point I focused less on that and more on entertaining and joking and stuff like that. So I would say that, yeah, I guess people will perceive that, but I don't like, I mean, Gerald Swindle's one of the funniest dudes on earth. I don't think anybody thinks any less of him as an angler. That, you know, I think it all depends on what you put out there.
No, I get it. And I think maybe it's, yeah, exactly. It's what you put out there and how you handle the role and the balance of, because I mean, let's face it, look at old Zona tapes, man, like 2006 Elite Series. The guy was like a wildcat, bud, like taking swings at Sanders and just saying like crazy Silence of the Lamb crap and like nutty stuff that like calling way back then. He's like, and Jerry McInnes is like Gary Busey back there, you know? God rest Jerry. You know what I mean? Like, but like, it's like, but you find the balance. Do you get what I'm saying? You find the balance.
Yeah. But I also think that it's that zone is still there.
I know.
But the difference is now, instead of a 1 hour show, you see 6 hours of Zona. So you can't be that all the time. And I also
Makes
think
sense.
that people just, you know, evolve and change. And Zona, I'm sure, is no different than anybody else. He wants to be better at his job and evolve at his job. So I feel like
Jagger.
One of the most unjust things to do is to expect Jagger to be Jagger, the same Jagger he's always been. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
You should evolve and you should change and be different.
Because what happens, Dave, and you just hit on the next point of order here, is that if you don't have a way of fluctuating or changing, you become a parody of oneself. We've seen it in musicians constantly, you know, like even though Mick Jagger may be a parody of himself now, but he evolved.
But he's so iconic.
Yes.
He can't not be a parody of himself. Like he is a character. You know what I mean? Like nobody knows who Mick Jagger is. Very few people get to know. And I will say the exact same thing about Zona. Very few people know who Mark Zona totally is.
Right.
And very few people know who I am. But that's also not what people want, Pat. Like, to be honest, I mean, I deal with it all. Like when we talked the other day, when I was talking to you at home and I'm exhausted, you're like, you sound tired. Like if I talk to anybody and I do not exude the same level of energy, people are like, oh, what is wrong with you?
I get it too. Yeah.
Dude, you can't be on fire forever. Like you'll burn out.
I get it.
So it's but I mean, all great things. Like they're all, thank God people want to see a certain thing, you know, because there's a lot of people who don't have those problems, and I don't think I have problems. You know what I mean? I just feel it's just part of being in the public. You know what I mean? You get, and we get the best, dude. Like really, like you go to the Bassmaster Classic and a bunch of people will stop you and ask you for pictures and sign things. And then you can go to the mall and those same people will cut you off with their grocery cart. So it's not like you're like Tom Cruise
or the ramp or the boat
time.
ramp. It's pretty cool though. What a cool life though, Dave. I'll tell you.
Very cool.
Yeah, you got
It's very cool. It's I mean it's beyond describable. Like when I look at the things that I've been lucky enough to experience and be part of, it's unfathomable. It's the same reason I tell people, like, everybody's going to tell you to write your 5-year plan. It's important to write things down, but it's also important not to write things down, because if I had written down a 5-year plan and 5 years before I got the job at Bass, I had to put on, okay, I'm going to be the Bass MC and everything, everybody would laugh you out of the room. So don't ever give people, I mean, I've always, like, there's part of me, and this is going to sound a little arrogant, but I've always said, like, if I wanted to be an actor, I feel like I'd be an actor. Like, if I really wanted to, you know, at one time I was dabbling in stand-up, and I still to this day feel like if I quit this and I really wanted to be a stand-up comedian, I could be. But again, you would have to do exactly what you did, everybody does here, and invest everything in it. But if you're willing to invest everything in it, as long as you don't stop working for a dream, I mean, you can't not achieve it. You know what I mean? Like, I do feel that way about a lot of things. Like, it's one of the worst things we do is tell people to be sensible. Be sensible, you know, don't go do the secure thing. Well, there's plenty of people that did the secure thing and failed. So if there's going to be a chance to fail, and you might as well do something you love.
Yeah, bud. That was really cool, Dave, by the way, how you said that, too. And it's as simple as it is. It's people that don't succeed stop before the dream. They give up before the dream. I mean, as dumb, or not dumb, but as simple as that sounds, it's really, like, nails it, bud. Like, think about your dream. Like, if you just would, you know, like, I could work at I could have went and worked at the bait store. You know what I mean? But no. You could have settled with the hog craw, made a couple thousand of them for a few years, done well.
Well, I just think that also, like, success is a measuring stick. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, success to people is different things. Like, do I think I'd be any less happy if I was introducing tournaments in Canada? No, I'd still be just as happy. I wouldn't have this yearning that I have to do that. But I do have a part of me that's like, if you get an opportunity, do it. I'd rather try something and fall flat on my face than not try it at all. So yeah, like, push yourself and get uncomfortable, you know, do things that
comfortably awkward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, so what's it like? I got to ask you with the whole bass thing. Like, you spend a lot of time on the road, obviously, and who's your bestie? Like, who's your bass bestie in as far as work buddy? Who's your work buddy that you hang out with the most on the road?
Overstreet.
Yeah, I figured.
Me and J.O. are. I mean, my wife showed up to the Classic, and one of the first things she said to Overstreet was like, she was like, well, I knew you guys were staying in different hotels this week, so I wasn't going to get in the way if I came to the Classic this year. Because me and Overstreet hang out every day. I mean, he's, I have a lot of friends on the road. I'm very lucky, but Overstreet and me eat more meals together throughout the year than anybody else.
Yeah, I like how you're a big daddy to the Canadians, too. Like, I remember, yeah, you are.
Am I a big daddy?
Yeah, you really are, kind of, because, like, if you tell them to wise up, they wise up. I'll give you an example. So, staying
only for short periods.
Yeah, yeah. If it goes away to way, they do it again, Dave. You know that. So I won't name which Johnston it was, Corey, but it was the Pickwick tournament. All right, now last year, and he did something about Yeah, about some post or something. And
Yeah.
and here comes a knock on the door. Tunk tunk tunk. Oh shit, who is it? Mercer. Oh, here comes Dave. I gotta talk to you, Corey. You and Corey is like mafia shit. It's like Canadian mafia. And you're like, come here, Corey. I'm gonna talk to you. Corey come back like a little manchichi with his tail between his legs, and he behaved the rest of the tournament and made the top 10, Dave. I mean, so whether you knew it or not.
Well, I think that I had a discussion with Corey that many people had with me at different times in my life. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, that's kind of your job to try and I am very proud to have those three guys on tour. And sometimes Corey screws up and he needs to get talked to.
That's Saturday night, Corey.
But
Saturday.
it's not like I didn't expect that. Like when they were coming here, I knew there'd be issues with Corey, but I mean,
Dude, I mean, you said that there'd be issues. Here's an issue we need. And I think the Johnstons are perfect for it. And hockey's the perfect Canadian sport to bring this out in Bassin. Like, we need chirping. We need guys like, like in wrestling, bud. You're a huge wrestling fan. Like, think about it, Dave. What if we had that in Bassin?
all in, yeah.
Like, are the anglers too thin-skinned? Could it never happen?
Yeah, I feel like they're too scared. I feel like they will. I feel like our sport evolves. Like, I think you have to understand our sport's very young. Like, when you compare it to other sports, in like it's 50 years old. Most sports are in the hundreds, over 100 years old. So I feel that everything evolves in time. And I think that we have much more vocal anglers today than we probably had 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I feel like 6 years from now, they'll get even more vocal. And I feel like our sport is kind of stuck in that weird little, like, I do believe it's important to be respectful and everything. But then I also believe that every once in a while, you got to rip your sleeves off and stand up on the Bassmaster Classic stage with a fur coat and just watch what the crowd does. I mean, it's awesome. And I do love how all the anglers are getting their own, personalities. But I think that, there's not a lot of chirping that goes on, but it's always been stifled in the past. If you chirped, you were told to be quiet. So I feel like they chirp in the background. We just got to get them to do
exactly right. Like, we had Hank Parker on a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us how Ray Scott would make Hank and Bo Dowden have a foot race, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna get you, Slim. You know what I mean? I mean, that was the behind the scenes chirping. We need stuff like that. You know what I mean? How cool would it be to have Bassin chirps, bud, and the guys going off on each other on stage? Like, Robertson and Swindle would be the perfect guys to start that kind of thing, chirping other people,
Well, I think they do. I think they do a little bit. I mean, they chirp a little bit, but it'll happen. I mean, I'm sure.
Especially
I
Corey.
wish Corey and Chris would go full Letterkenny. Give your balls and talk to
Yeah.
Dorothy.
I agree. I would love it. I would love it if they did. Hey, I know you got a big day tomorrow, and I'm not going to keep you much longer. Just a couple things I got to ask you, Dave, because I don't know these questions about you. They may be selfish, but I need to know right now. So what's Dave Mercer's all-time band? Like, what's the band that is your band forever?
Oh, dude, I have such eclectic music taste. I literally like everything from Willie Nelson to, like, the greatest concert I've ever attended in my entire life was Willie Nelson.
Interesting.
The first concert I ever attended in my entire life was Pink Floyd.
Oh.
And I also saw Run DMC.
Heck yeah. But come on,
so
you got one that's right in the heart.
A bunch of times.
Right in the heart. Like something that just, it's always good times for you. Something that's just always good time music. For me, it's the Stones. I mean, I can.
Yeah, Stones are good. I think the Stones are the greatest band of all time.
Yeah.
I think that the Beatles are the most important band of all time.
Interesting.
Because I think that they inspired everybody. I'm a big Elton John fan. A lot of I just so I don't really have like one. Like I like a lot of different, I like new red dirt country. Like I like Whiskey Myers.
Heck
I like
yeah.
a lot of
Old Billy String. Yeah.
But probably like I'd say Willie Nelson's my favorite. But I love all the greats. Like I would love to have seen a Bob Marley concert. I'd love to, things like that. I think, but all over the place. I'd say I can't pick one. Like it literally all over the place is my playlist. Everything, but you know what I hate? I hate like hard metal, like some of that. It's just, again, I don't like being angry. I like happy music.
I do too.
Hated grunge. Nirvana sucked.
I don't get Pink Floyd, like no disrespect to Pink Floyd, but Pink Floyd doesn't make me happy. And I like happy music for the most part
But
too.
I feel like at that time, people weren't searching for the music to make them happy. There was other things.
And if you go chasing rabbits, but no, but I get it, man. But like, I don't know, what band didn't do it for you? Like, give me a band, a specific band. You said a genre, but what's a band that didn't do it? Like, what don't you get?
Nirvana.
Yeah.
I like the Foo Fighters, but I just
But
thought
not
Nirvana
Nirvana.
was horrible. Like I think that it just was never my thing. Nirvana, the whole grunge movement, it was just like, that's, to me, you look at that came along and the world got miserable. That was like the green light for everyone to be like, I'm depressed. and we haven't dug our way out of it.
You ever see the goth kid in South Park that just like smokes and turns and yeah, man, that's what it was like.
Yeah. But like, I like entertainers. I like people that can put on a show. I think the best halftime show that we've ever had, like that argument, like it doesn't matter who the halftime show is at the Super Bowl. Half the world's going to think it's the worst ever, and the other half of the world's going to think it's the best ever. But I think the best halftime show that stands out for me is probably Bruce Springsteen, because it was like a straight up, like, it was just him and his band, and he ran around like a madman and put on a show.
I thought you were going to say Janet Jackson's nipple was the best ever.
Did you see Miley Cyrus's nipple this year?
I didn't see it. Yeah.
I screen grabbed it. I have it in my phone.
Oh, send that to me.
Sorry, did I say that aloud?
No, I wanted to see it. But actually, I heard it was on the New Year's special or whatever. And then, isn't this what we're talking about? The New Year's special or no?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, I guess it was New Year's. It wasn't. Yeah, Super Bowl was.
Yeah, she had a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
It happens.
I want to see
it. As
it.
a man with boobs, I understand.
Moobs. They're moobs, Dave. Dave, you like entertainers, man. You like movies. Like, all right, last stuff, and I know you got to go, but a couple more. Like, what is the Dave Mercer movie? What's the one you watch over and over, the one that makes Dave happy?
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
And if you watch a weigh-in, and I did not know this until Eric Lopez, who I worked with, brought it up a number of years ago. He's like, do you realize how many Happy Gilmore references you make through a weigh-in? And I'm like, no, but it turns out I make a lot of them.
Like, give me an example. Like, I'm trying to picture one that you do.
Well, I always talk with the Happy Gilmore Jack, and I've dropped a few. Happy learned how to putt.
Yeah.
I don't know, like just come out of.
It's like Happy Gilmore Tourette's that you have.
Yeah, they do. They do come out of weirdness. But I love all of Adam Sandler's movies, really. Like, I'm a big Adam Sandler fan. And I've always said, like, that's when people are like, who would you like to fish with? That in every interview I've ever been asked, I'm like, Adam Sandler, just because I just want to become his friend because he puts his friends in movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and Zona is kind of like the Adam Sandler of our industry. He puts his friends on Bassmasters. So thank you, Zona. But I don't think I'd be a good, like, serious actor, but I think I could do the you can do it stuff.
You'd be amazing in Grandma's Boy. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
You would be amazing in that role.
I think he's one of the coolest there is out there. But I'm a big fan of him, big fan of Will Ferrell. Literally all funny stuff. I think the greatest comedian of all times, probably Richard Pryor or George Carlin. That's my comedy.
Old,
there.
did you ever
So,
get into old Eddie Murphy, like the original Raw?
yeah, Delirious and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just think that everything, like Eddie Murphy, I mean, he's incredible. He's incredible. I just think that like what Richard Pryor did, and they did things when there was no spot for them to do it. You know what I mean? Like they literally transcended. But I think again, that's one of my. I think the two greatest skills in the world is to be a stand-up comic or to be a really good singer. That's somebody that can carry it by yourself. Like the power when somebody can just belt a note out and just hammer something. Like to me, that is one of, and I'm not talking about a ballad. I'm talking about somebody that just has pipes and can hammer it out. I think those are two of the most incredible talents on earth.
Like Sebastian Bach, another great Canadian.
Is he Canadian?
Yeah. I think he's from Los Angeles. He just was on Trailer Park Boys. That's all.
Pamela Anderson's a Canadian.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Got discovered at a BC Lions game. She was in the crowd and she was that hot that she got up in the Jumbotron and people started giving her business cards.
Wow. You said talent
Almost
isn't
like
everything.
how I got picked for Bass.
Yeah, exactly. Dave, you got a big day tomorrow. It's Sandy Cooper, bud. Like, how we looking? Are we going to smash him? I know Davey was excited about it, about the Smash Fest.
It has literally poured here all day. So I think it's going to be one of those unique, like they're going to smash them. Trust me. It's this time of year. There's a full moon tomorrow or the next day, whatever it is. They're going to smash them at Santee. But I think that you're going to have some adjusting going on tomorrow. You're going to have, this is going to be one of those derbies where pre-fish might not matter at all because they weren't on the water all day today.
Right.
It was freezing cold when they were pre-fishing. We're going into a warming trend. But on top of that, we had torrential rains all day today. Like literally it was raining so hard at certain points. I thought about pulling off the interstate. Like it was that kind of teeming rain.
Interesting.
And it went on all day here. So it'll be interesting to see how it affects things, but they'll smash them. They will catch them. I mean, here's the other thing you got to watch. And this is almost down to a science. Just scroll through Instagram and look. Whenever they all start putting pictures up of like a 7 and an 8, and they're just like, pre-fish was tough. Just hoping to get a few of these. It's good. That's. I mean, it almost without raise, they'll catch them tomorrow.
That's awesome. And Dave, I leave you with this amazing job at the Bassmaster Classic, and may I say, from a bass fishing fan's POV, one of the most exciting classics ever, if not the most exciting classic of all time. Like that was a bass fishing fans classic, bud, wasn't it, Dave? It was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on the morning, Sunday morning. I'm like, it hasn't been since Pittsburgh that I literally went into Championship Sunday thinking anybody can win this, like literally anyone.
Right.
And the way it all happened was perfect too, if you ask me. Like I love that Stetson challenged them. I love that Stetson forced them to, he weighed in the biggest bag of the tournament on the biggest day in bass fishing. And then at the end of it, it went down to the two dudes who were tied going into the final day. It was so perfect. And to have it 5 ounces apart and neither of them really know what was going to happen. It was perfect. I mean, to me, that's, so many great stories from this classic, but as a bass fishing fan, even the fishing, like to have that many different types of fishing happening and that much, it was a great classic. It was, and weirdly enough, to me, it felt like the first classic of the new bass almost.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like where there was nobody comparing anything. That's all gone away now. Nobody's saying, like it was their classic. I mean, and on top of that, the only people that came to the classic outside of bass folks were Itch Monroe and Cody Meyer.
Yeah. And Dudley. I saw Dave Dudley for a minute.
Oh, was Dudley there?
Yeah,
Oh,
Dave Dudley
awesome.
was there for a minute. Yeah.
So, and anybody that I didn't mention, I apologize. But what I'm saying is,
I think we covered it with those 3 days.
yeah. But it was cool that it was like there were still giant lineups but now it's for like some of the amazing things that happened that weekend, like to see and hear about the lineup that Matty Wong had. He's a Bass Nation national champion. And to just see the difference that the Bassmaster Classic could make in your life in just 2 days, even if you don't catch them real good, it was really cool to see that from that standpoint. So yeah, it was a great classic and an amazing event.
Heck yeah! And besides Jason's amazing victory, the commemorative John Cox Post Malone T-shirt is probably the best T-shirt I've ever seen in my life. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Dave?
I'm well aware.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's like the best T-shirt ever. Yeah, it is.
I still remember the night he sent me the pictures and said I finally did it because it took a lot of browbeating to get him to do that. And it had to be carefully worded because you didn't want people to think of it wrong. But it was inspired by women's MMA, obviously. But it's beautiful. John Cox is the best. Be honest.
He's an amazing human.
I
don't even know if he's human. I don't even know if he is human. He's
no, he's totally human. Trust me. Those are my favorite parts about him.
Hey, Dave, good luck tomorrow doing your bass stuff tomorrow, and you're emceeing and you're live-in and all that good stuff. And the Bass Live kicks off at what time? What is that on the Bassmaster.com? Do you know?
I would think it'd be 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
We take up 7:30, so I think 8 a.m. Eastern time we will be kicking off Bass Live.
There it is.
I'll probably get in trouble because I've done this podcast in a hotel where really 90% of the people here got to get up at really early, and all they've heard is me yap all night. And I turned my do not disturb on in the phone, so they can't even text me and tell me to shut up. So sorry, everyone.
Yeah, and we're both loudmouths, so we do wish the anglers the best of luck tomorrow, and of course safety and knock them out. An amazing season so far at Bass, ladies and gentlemen. Find Dave Mercer on everything, everywhere in bass fishing. He's the Ryan Seacrest of bass fishing, and we thank you, Dave Mercer, for being you, bud.
Thank you for having me on, and you kept me way later than we agreed. This is some bullshit. I gotta go to bed.
I love you, bud. Be good. See ya.
Night.
That's Dave Mercer. Give it up for Dave, Bass Galaxy, once again. Yes. What time is it? 9 o'clock in America. Ginge, we got to do a couple prizes. And let's do it. What do we got? We got the Berkeley. Oh, we forgot to tell Dave. We've got the Mercer Max on. We forgot to ask him what he was given. But what do you guys got? You and Jay Kaz got some
we're ready.
Some beauties worked up. You going to do it?
Yeah, let's go.
Go ahead, bud. Okay. So what do we got first?
Stray cast one.
The Stray Cast Max Scent Pack.
Correct.
Like and share contest winner is number one.
Mike Beasley.
Mike Beasley.
Yeah, like bee's knees.
I like it. Mike Beasley won the Stray Cast Max Scent Pack.
Yes.
Direct message Jake Haas. Congratulations, Mr. Beasley. On the book face.
On the Facebook.
On the Facebook.
Don't send it to Instagram.
Yes, Facebook, Jake Haas.
Okay.
Okay, now what's the next one? We got the Mercer Max Pack.
Yeah.
Maxi Pack.
Whatever he's going to get.
Yeah. Okay, Ginge. Give it away now.
Is Mark Hedden. Or Heeden. One or the other.
Hedden lures. The Lucky 13s are a spook.
Yeah.
That's
Heeden? It's 2 E's, so it's got to be.
Oh, Heeden.
Heeden.
Not 2 D's.
Yeah.
So
Something like that.
So it's Heeden.
If
Mark
you're still
Heeden.
there, Mark Heeden.
James Heeden and Sons lures.
Correct.
He won.
There you go.
He won the Mercer Max Scent Pack. Congratulations, guys. Miracles happen on Stray Cast. That's the deal. Okay. There it is right there. Hey, thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. Thank you to all our amazing sponsors. Ginge, I'm making this a quick close. Watch
All
this.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I am. I watch.
Okay.
Give me a little music. Yeah, I can do it.
No,
I can do that.
No.
Thank
I don't
you.
even want to know where that's going to go.
Thank you, TH Marine Supplies. Thank you, Omnia
That'll
Fishing
slow
Man.
you down. Yeah, nope.
Thank you, TH Marine Supplies.
Thank you, Omnia. Thank you, Power Pole, Crestliner, Rebel Garcia.
All right,
Berkeley,
let her rip.
Ichikawa Sims, Tin Cup, Alpha, Bravarni, Bite Me, Amphibia. We love you all. We love you all. The Impulse Lithium, thank you for coming aboard. Half a Spot, thanks again. Love you guys over at Half a Spot. Berkeley and Abu, of course. It's a crazy thin raft that we all sail on, Andrew Ellenberger in Bass Galaxy. So you know what? Might as well sail it along and come back next Wednesday. Same Bass time, same Bass channel. Hey, I'm Pat Renwick. Thank you, Dave Mercer. And thank you, everyone, again, for your love of the bass. I'm Pat Renwick. I bid you peace. I'll see you next week.